This is an 8.1-inch smart screen for your vehicle, and it's kind of a jack of all trades because it's got a ton of features, and we'll try to go over at least most of them so that you can make an informed decision. By the way, if you want to check this out, I will leave a few links in the description down below. Now let's start with the screen. It is an 8.1-inch screen and its resolution is 1600 by 600, so it's a kind of mid to high resolution. It's got a touch interface, which is good, and you can access all of the settings from within the screen itself by merely touching the interface. Now during the setup of this screen, I basically did not have to use my phone at all except for the CarPlay connectivity. Everything that you can use or adjust in this screen is actually done via the touchscreen itself. Now, speaking of CarPlay, it does support also Android Auto, both of which, by the way, are wireless. Now, when you connect the devices, they default to showing the maps, but you can also switch to any, you probably know how to use CarPlay or Android Auto. And the thing that I like is that the screen will remember whatever setting or whatever you had displayed last on your interface. So it's not always going to default to the map. It's only defaulting to the map when you set it up for the first time. Now, it does support phone mirroring for certain applications. So for example, you can watch YouTube videos on the screen via AirPlay or simply sharing via your Android interface. Now, as for the audio, there are 4 types of connections. One is Bluetooth, another one is the ever so popular auxiliary port. You also have the option to transmit via FM to an empty radio station, which by the way is my favorite way to transmit the audio. And you of course have the built-in speakers, which may not be HD resolution in terms of sound, but they are very high volume so that you can definitely listen to whatever it is that is being played. As for mounting the screen on your car, you have 2 options. You can mount it on a suction cup, which it does include a plate so that you can have a more smooth and level surface for which to put the suction cup. And it also has an adhesive, which is my preferred method and is the way that I installed it. The adhesive will allow you to set it up on a flat part of your dash or even on the windshield itself. Now, speaking of dash, this does include a dash cam and a rear cam, and it also records both of them at the same time. For recording, it does include a 128GB SD card, which is pre-installed. Now, I did remember that I got a message on the screen asking me to format it, and that was only on the very first time that I set it up. So I did that, and it has worked flawlessly since then. Now, one feature that I really like is that the backup camera will show in full screen whenever you set your car in reverse, and it helps you park your car. Now, one thing worth mentioning is that by default the image is not reversed. This means that it does not look like you would look at it in the mirror. So you do have to reverse it by yourself using the settings in the screen itself. This was of course very easy to do, and the screen does remember it whenever you power it off. Now, both front and rear cameras are recorded at the same time at all times, even if you are not setting your car on reverse. And even though you set your car in reverse and the rear camera activates, everything is still recorded simultaneously, both the front and the back cameras. Now, I almost forgot to mention that when you set your car in reverse and you see the rear camera, it does have the guides for parking, and these guides are actually adjustable via the touch interface. So I thought that that was really cool. Now, as for the recording, it can record the front camera up to 4K, the default being 2K, which is where I left it at, and this is the footage that you are seeing right now. And the rear camera is being recorded at all times at 1080p resolution, which is more than enough for a rear camera. Now, I did notice that the image tends to be a little bit wobbly on the front-facing camera, so maybe that could have been a little bit better, but it still works pretty good, and it should be more than enough for any type of footage that you may need. So like I mentioned at the beginning, this is pretty much a jack-of-all-trades device because it's got so many features. I really appreciate the backup camera, being able to connect to CarPlay and Android Auto, both of them wirelessly, and that it also records the front and back cameras at the same time. And again, I really appreciate the backup camera with the guides that are adjustable. I guess the only 2 caveats that I have with this screen is the front footage being a little bit too wobbly, still usable, but it could be better. And the other caveat being that for some reason I was not able to use any of my existing chargers with this camera. I could only get it to power on with the one that was included. So a little bit weird, but it is what it is. So I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you for watching this far, and I hope to see you in the next one. And until then, may God bless you all.